going to start this session, I would like to recall what we learned in the last session. Okay, so we learned in the last session 4 characteristics, living characteristics. Those are: do all organisms need food? Do all organisms shows a growth? Do all organisms respond? Do all organisms respond to stimuli? Okay, so in this session we are going to be studying the other 3 important living characteristics. Those are: do all organisms excrete? Do all organisms reproduce their own kinds? Do all organisms move? Okay, so first we should discuss about the do all organisms excrete. Okay, my dear children, you knew this already. All the animals, they need a food. We are going to be take a food every day. So in that food, only a part of it can be utilized by our body. What about the other? What happened? Yes, the other part, it has been excreted from our body. Okay, so that what I am going to say, the meaning of the excretion. What is the meaning of this? Excretion, nothing but it is one of the most important process in the life processes. Okay, so excretion, nothing but the getting rid of wastes by the organisms is called as an excretion. Okay, so I hope you understood this. Then how does it take place in the animals? Yes, in the animals this excretion takes place means the removal of the wastes by the organisms as a urine and as well as the fecal matter. It can be takes place in the animals. How about the plants? Yes, in the plants also this excretion takes place, but not as seen in the animals. In the plants the excretion takes place or the removal of the wastes as a secretion. Okay, I hope it's clear for you, my dear children. This is about the excretion. Next, what is the second point? Do all organisms reproduce their own kind? Yes, before going to start that, I would like to say the meaning of the reproduction. Reproduction, nothing but the giving birth to, the process of giving birth to young ones is called as a reproduction. Okay, this reproduction process, it is also one of the important process in the life processes of the living organisms. Okay, so we understood the meaning of the reproduction. Now let me continue. What are the variety of the reproductions? We can identify it in the animals. Okay, the animals also reproduce in the, as well as the plants also reproduce. But in case of the animals, okay, the reproduction takes place in 2 ways. Okay, what are those? The first one is oviparous and second one is viviparous. Okay, oviparous, nothing but the egg-laying animals. We can call those animals or organisms as an oviparous. Okay, so to make you understand about this concept, just my dear children, you have seen several times a nest of a birds. Okay, so in those nests, almost all the birds, they are laying the eggs. After few days, those eggs hatched and giving birth and giving the young ones. Okay, so that in the oviparous animals, those are laying the eggs. After few days, we are getting the young ones. Okay, so for example, for the oviparous is kangaroo. Next, second one, viviparous. What is this viviparous? Viviparous organisms, those are the organisms or the animals, they are giving birth to young ones of their own kind. We are going to call those as a viviparous. Example, human being, cat, okay, cow. All these are all the examples for the viviparous. Okay, I hope children you understood the process of the reproduction. It can be takes place in 2 ways in animals. Now let us move on to the plants. How about the plants? Yes, plants also they are going to be reproduced. Okay. For example, it can be takes place in 3 ways. The first one is through the seed, the plants it can be reproduced. To prove this, okay, just I am going to say one example. My dear children, just to take a germinated any seed, you can sow that in a soil, water it. After few days, you are going to get a new plant. Okay, so this is one variety of a reproduction we can identify in the plants. What is the second variety? Second variety means potato. I think you know or you knew about the potato. Just to take buds growing on the surface of the potato. Okay, that part you can take it and you have to sow it in a soil. After few days, you are going to get a new potato plant. This is also another one variety of the reproduction takes place in the plants. Okay, next the third one is, my dear children, just to take the cutting of the rose plant. Okay, you have to take the cutting of the rose plant and you have to plant in a soil. After few days, you will be get a new rose plant. Means from this we can understand that by the cutting of the plant, we are going to get a new plant. So like this, these are the three varieties of the reproduction we are going to be identified in the plants, but in the animals, two ways, those are oviparous and the viviparous. Okay, I hope it's clear for you, my dear children. Let me continue the third point. What is that? Do all organisms move? Yes, almost all the animals, they can move from one place to another place. You already knew this. Next, how about the plants? All these plants, they can move from place to one place to another place. Sorry, they won't move from one place to another place because those plants, they are anchored in the soil. Okay, anchored nothing but landed. Means the plants already they are landed in the soil so that they can't move from one place to another place. But also these plants, they can show the movement. How they are showing? Yes. Okay, now three variety. What is the first variety? My dear children, in a plant body means those plants, they are going to be stored some of the water, mineral water and as well as the food. Okay, those materials, it can be transferred from one part of the plant to the other part of the same plant. How it can take place? Yes, to transport these materials in a plant body, we are going to be identified the two category of the tissues. Those are the xylem as well as the phloem tissue. Okay, so xylem tissue, it can transport water from one part of the plant to the other part of the plant. Next, the phloem, it can transport the food from one part of the plant to the other part of the same plant. Okay, in this way we can identify the movement in the plants. What is the second way? Yes, I think you knew it already, my dear children. Almost all the plants, the plant bodies, they are going to be closed and they are going to be bloom. Okay, this shows the movement in a plant bodies. Next, what is the third point? Already you knew that plants also, they are going to be responding to the stimuli. Okay, so that from these three varieties also, they are going to be exhibit the characteristic of a movement in the plant bodies. Okay, yes. So what we understood from this movement, this is the one of the important characteristics we can identify both in plants and as well as the animals. Okay, yes. Let me continue. Now we understood all the 7 characteristics of the living organisms. Okay, my dear children, I am asking you one question. Do all the non-living things, are they move from one place to another place? Yes, definitely they are moved from one place to another place. For example, just to consider car, bus, train, a piece of paper, clouds. Okay, all these are we can consider as a non-living, but also they are moving. Okay, so what I am going to say here, so the characteristics of the living beings are differ from the characteristics of the non-living beings. Okay, so one of the most important unique characteristics we are going to be identified in the living beings. What is that? That is a death. Okay, my dear children, you knew this already. The animals and as well as the plants, they are going to be die one or the other day. But although nowadays means surrounding of us, we are going to be see several of animals and the plants. Okay, how these are going to be lead a life? Because the organisms, okay, they are going to be reproduce their own kind on the earth. Means thousands of years ago, we are going to be see these animals or these living beings on the earth. Why? Because they are going to be reproduce their own kind. Okay, so that my dear children, now we understood that the living beings, the animals and as well as the plants, they are going to be exhibit the 7 characteristics. Okay, the organisms need a food, shows a growth, they reproduce, okay, they respire, they shows respond to stimulus, they move, they excrete. Okay, but we are not identified all these characteristics in the non-living beings. But these non-living beings also, they are going to be exhibit some of the characteristics. Okay, so to prove this statement, my dear children, I would like to give one example. My dear children, you can take a dry mung seeds. Okay, so just you assume, just you think in your mind, those mung seeds, though we are preserved in the shop. Okay, in that shop, you are going to be see a bag full of mung seeds there. Okay, just to take from the shop, you are bringing some of the mung seeds and you have to germinate it and you have to sow that germinated seed in the soil. You water it. After few days, you will get a new mung plant. Okay, now there is a question arising in our mind. Same old mung seed we are preserved in the shop. Okay, already we were preserved that mung seeds in the shop. Those seeds, did they excrete? Did they show a movement? Did they reproduce? Did they respire? Did they need a food? Sorry, not at all. Okay, but we are going to be identified a mung plant here. Okay, so from this example, we understood that okay, the non-living things also, they are going to be exhibit some of the living characteristics. Okay, yes. My dear children, now we understood that the comparison of characteristics between the living and as well as the non-living. Now, I would like to give another one example for you, my dear children. My dear children, you have seen a wheat. Okay, just you take a gunny bag full of a wheat or sack of a wheat. Sack of a wheat. In that sack of a wheat, you have to immerse your hand at the bottom of the gunny bag. Okay, what happened? After 2 to 3 minutes, okay, after 3 minutes, you are going to be feel the warmness or heat. How do you feel this? Yes, definitely, you are going to be feel that because those wheat seeds, they are going to be respired. Okay, while respiring, they are going to be liberate heat. Okay, that because of that heat only, you are going to be feel their warmness. Okay, so from this instance, we are going to be understood that surrounding of us, we are going to be see the living and as well as the non-living things. Means, my dear children, please you look after all the diversity of the living beings surrounding of you. Okay, you are going to be seeing life is very beautiful because of the presence of the living and as well as the non-living being surrounding of you. Okay, I hope, my dear children, you understood all the concepts what I told in detail from part 1 video to part 7 videos. Okay, so my dear children, once again I am going to recall the whole lesson, what we learned in this lesson. Okay, the concepts like adaptation, habitat of 2 types, terrestrial and aquatic habitat. Okay, after that we deal 7 characteristics of the living organisms. Do all organisms need food? Do all organisms show the growth? Do all organisms respire? Do all organisms respond to stimulus? Do all organisms excrete? Okay. Do all organisms reproduce their own kind? Do all organisms move? These are the 7 important characteristics we had studied in this lesson. So, finally I am going to conclude this lesson. One of the most important statement means a life is very beautiful. My dear children, please you utilize this life in a right and a good manner. Okay, yes, let me stop here. My dear children, if you have a doubts or queries, please you have to ask it in a 6th standard science group. I am going to clarify your doubts. Okay, so my dear children, I hope you understood this whole lesson. Okay, thank you.